Hey guys, this is Callum from EnglishShooting and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be covering the first Speed Steel of the year. This was held on the 24th of April at the brand new Yeaveley Ranges on the Yeaveley Estate. A fantastic facility. We are going to find ourselves on our first stage, which is the Pendulum, a nice simple one to start off with. This is going to be the first rifle competition for a few months for me, so very rusty, and I'm using a gun that I've never even shot before, the new Battle Arms light version. This is actually Connor's new gun, so I've got all of my excuses out of the way. The first stage wasn't disastrous, but the rust was showing. My best string was 2.83 seconds, my worst being 4.64, bringing a total of 13.23. Obviously, the worst string is going to be dropped out of the total of 5. Connor's also showing a little bit of rust with the best string from him of 3.08, a worst of 4.29, and a total dropping that worst one of 15.02. But it wasn't disastrous, a nice one to ease back in and crack off that rust and really get into it. We really did find going through the day that it just got faster and faster and more comfortable. We move on to the Accelerator now. 5 total strings for this stage, and Connors sets a fastest string of 2.69. He had a worst string of 3.62 and a total dropping that worst one of 11.84. I managed a fastest string of 2.79, the worst of 3.24, and a total dropping that worst of 11.73. Really like this stage, that big target straight away. I wasn't even aiming at it, just bring the gun and pull the trigger. We were getting some really rapid times to first shot on that, and then a little bit of rust trying to pick up those further targets. One of the great things about Speed Steels is that it's very quick because there's very little resetting. After each 5 strings or 4 strings on a 4-string stage, you just spray the target, so you don't have to go around putting targets back up, which makes it very fluid, very quick, and very enjoyable overall. The next stage for us was Roundabout. We are starting to get into it at this point and feeling the groove. Connors managed a fastest string of 2.27 seconds, a worst string of 3.39, making a total of 10.20. It was a beautiful day at Yeaveley, really sunny and quite hot, so really couldn't have gone better for the weather. On my runs, I managed a fastest time of 2.14 seconds, a worst time of 3.16, and a total of 9.56. One thing about the Battle Arms I did notice was actually the optic. I was really having to jam my face into the stock to really get my eye on that dot. This is one of the downsides of using a gun that really isn't set up for you, and certainly a gun that you haven't shot before. But we're on to Showdown next with some fairly long range targets for Speed Steels. Connors managed a fastest time on this of 2.17 seconds. His worst time was 2.85, making a total of 9.96. Something that I noticed with the longer distance targets is the time to hear that ding, and it can actually be quite off-putting when you're used to the closer ones. That delay sort of gives you that instinct that you've missed it when really you've hit it, and it can slow you down thinking that you need to top up. I managed on this a fastest string of 2.24 seconds, my worst string was 3.42, and a total overall of 9.80. We're on to Speed Option. This one can be a little tricky because of that long distance target. You think because it is a larger one that it's going to be easier to hit, but because of the distance it relatively makes it the same size. So you do want to take some time and make sure you're getting that final hit. The delay again can throw you off a little bit, but it is the final stop plate target, so you should always be hitting that last anyway. Connor's managed a fastest string of this of 2.97 seconds. His worst string was 3.71, making a total of 13.02 seconds. I managed a fastest string of 3 seconds dead. My worst was 4.14, making a total time for this stage of 12.31. We're going to be moving on to what is my favourite stage of all of the speed steels, outer limits, and this is purely because there is movement. I really like movement in competitions, and there's very little, if not any, apart from outer limits within a speed steel comp. It's later in the day, let's see how fresh we are on our legs, but Connor's on this stage managed a fastest string of 4.07 seconds. His worst was 4.79, making a total of 12.99, a really decent stage for Connor's. I managed a fastest string of 4.41 seconds. My worst was 5.81, and my overall was 14.41 seconds. So whilst my favourite stage, this wasn't actually one of my better stages of the day, but it was still enjoyable nonetheless. We are on to Smoke and Hope on the second to last stage of the day. This one can again play with your mind because they are big targets. You're probably thinking it is impossible to miss, but this is really the fastest of the day. You really let the gun go because you've got the biggest, closest targets. Connor's managed a fastest string of 2.26 seconds. His worst was 3.77, making a total of 9.97. My fastest on this was 2.2. My worst was 9.32 due to a duff round, which took a little while to get out, but that was the one I dropped, making a total for this stage of 9.44. We move on to 5 to go. Well, this is only 1 to go for us. This is the last stage of the day, and this is really for me, a survival stage. You've just got to slow down. Those targets are all the same size, but they're getting further and further away. You really don't want to rush it and start missing those later targets. I managed a fastest string of 2.71. My worst was 4.35, making a total of 11.86. I just kept it slow and steady, and that seemed to pay dividends in the end. Connor's managed a fastest string of 2.72 on this stage. His worst was 4.54, making a total of 13.66. So again, a very solid stage from Connor's, and that brings the end of shooting. The end result put me in 9th out of 55 shooters with a total time of 92.34 seconds. Connor's came in 14th place with a total time of 96.66 seconds. A huge congratulations to the overall winner of the day, which was Alex Cox. And for any of you that says that you can't train with airsoft guns, this is where he trained, and he absolutely blitzed this competition. And a big thank you to all of the organisers, all of the ROs, and everyone involved in making this happen. It was incredibly enjoyable. So there we go, guys, a match report of the first Yeaveley Speed Steels of the year. Very much looking forward to the second one coming up very, very soon. But I really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please give it a big thumbs up, and please consider subscribing for any future videos. And as always, guys, I hope to see you soon.